Hello, welcome back, and thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to read to you from The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden for the month of July. July, the 7th month in our calendar, was originally the 5th month of the year, and as such was called by the Romans Quintilis. The later name of Julius was given in honor of Julius Caesar, who was born in the month. The Anglo-Saxons called July monad, or mead month, from the meadows being then in bloom, and Afterazida, the latter mild month, in contradistinction to June, which they named the former mild month. Days of note: July 3rd, dog days begin. July 15th, Saint Swithin. July 25th, Saint James. July mottos: Saint Swithin's Day, if it do rain, for 40 days it will remain. Saint Swithin's Day, and it be fair, for 40 days 'twill rain no mair. A swarm of bees in May is worth a load of hay. A swarm of bees in June is worth a silver spoon. A swarm of bees in July is not worth a fly. In July, shear your rye. Then came hot July, boiling like to fire, that all his garments he had cast away upon a lion raging yet with ire. He boldly rode and made him to obey, behind his back a scythe, and by his side under his belt he wore a sickle circling wide. Spenser. The cushats cry for me, the lovely laughter of the wind-swayed wheat, the easy slope of yonder pastoral hill, the sedgy brook where the red kine meet, and wade and drink their fill. Jean Ingelow. Yellow with birdfoot trefoil are the grass glades, yellow with cinquefoil of the dew-grey leaf, yellow with stonecrop the moss mounds are yellow, blue-necked the wheat sways, yellowing to the sheaf. Green-yellow bursts from the copse the laughing yaffle, sharp as a sickle is the edge of shade and shine. Earth in her heart laughs, looking at the heavens. Thinking of the harvest, I look and think of mine. Love in the Valley, G. Meredith. July 1st, fine but dull, with breeze from the northwest. 6th, third day of bright sunshine, and 5th without rain. Miss F. gave me some bee orchids this afternoon, which she gathered growing wild in Berkshire. 7th, cycled to Knoll through Widney. The hedges are a tangle of wildflowers now. There is a fine show of wild roses. Both the earlier dog roses and the later white trailing variety are in full bloom. In many places the hedges are festooned with wreaths of black bryony and honeysuckle. The pale white blackberry blossoms and the large white masses of elder blossoms are everywhere conspicuous. Climbing up the banks to meet them are tall purple foxgloves and nodding heads of grasses heavy with pollen, mingled with purple and yellow vetches and clover blossom. The marsh at Widney is quite blue in some places, with the large water forget-me-not, and the ditches are lined with masses of creamy meadowsweet. I saw hosts of tiny green moths fluttering around the oak trees that have been so devastated by their caterpillars this spring, and numbers of small tortoiseshell shells and meadow browns in a cornfield of growing wheat. I saw a number of blossoms of the opium poppy. Their large head and purple blooms made fine patches of color among the green blades. Had a beautiful white water lily given me from the pool at Packwood House. 11th. Went by train to Knoll and walked across the fields to Packwood. Haymaking was going on in most of the fields, but the grass was still uncut in the church meadows, being low-lying and marshy. There were numbers of flowers growing among the grasses, quantities of deep crimson heads of the great Burnet dog daisies, self-heal, yellow rattle, knapweed, spotted orchis, and yellow and purple vetches. Picked a great bunch of quaking grass, and at the little bridge that spans the stream we stopped to gather some of the branched burreed. Passing through a cornfield, I noticed that nearly every stalk of wheat had this small bindweed twining closely around it, and here were quantities of corn crowfoot with its curious prickly seed vessels. By the roadside, I gathered wood germander, henbit nettle, the brightest of all the red nettles, woodruff, small upright St. John's wort, perforated St. John's wort, white and pink mallow, rose bay, willow herb, yellow vetchling, greater trefoil, small scabious, and the first harebells I have seen this year. The privet is all in flower now, and the time just expanding its blossoms after showing it tight little green balls of buds for many weeks past. 14th. Glorious day after a day of heavy rain. On my weekly ride to Knoll, saw the following flowers in bloom since I passed through the lanes a week ago. Field Nadia, small cebius, nipplewort, water drop wort, corn sow thistle, creeping plume thistle, and ivy-leaved lettuce, as well as several varieties of hawkweed. Many of the oak trees, which were so devastated by caterpillars this year, are producing quite a new crop of foliage. 18th. Saw a blackbird sitting on its nest today in the top of a high hawthorn hedge. It is the caterpillar of the small green oak moth, which ravages the oak leaves. 21. Cycled to Baddesley and walked from there to Balsall Temple. I knew the wild Canterbury bell, creeping campanula, used to grow by the streams there years ago, and I was anxious to find it again, nor was I disappointed. The tall spikes of purple bells were very conspicuous, growing in a deep ditch among masses of meadowsweet, and the nettles into the midst of which I valiantly plunged. Though the nettles met over my head and didn't fail to remind me of their presence, I crossed the meadows to the bank of the little river where the purple leaf strife, or long purples, was just coming into flower. There, too, I found some of the blue meadow cranesbill. All along the stream were great quantities of water figwort and the pretty little unbranched burreed and its balls of pale gold. The large water forget-me-not was rampant everywhere, and in one place the bed of the stream was covered with yellow water lilies. I captured 2 of the blossoms and one of the broad, shining leaves that were growing near the bank. I saw a beautiful kingfisher skim across the water. There were beds of tall rushes, nearly 6 feet high, with blue-green stems and knotted clusters of brown flowers. I think they must have been a species of club rush. This is a beautiful bit of country, low-lying meadows with sedgy streams meandering through them, lined with beds of water flowers and rushes. I went a mile out of my way down a narrow lane to search for the spreading campanula where it used to grow years ago, but all trace of it had disappeared. Along a lane just above Balsall, I came suddenly upon a great flock of meadow-brown butterflies. I had seen numbers of them all along the way, but here the air was thick with them, flying hither and thither. One side of the lane was bordered by a broad patch of meadow grass and a steep bank covered with henbit nettle and knapweed. And topped by a hedge of privet in full bloom. It may have been the strong scent of the privet which attracted the butterflies to the spot. On the slope of a dry upland field, I gathered the hemp agrimony, and down at the bottom of a dry marl pit in a corner of the same field, I spied the pale yellow spikes and sea-green foliage of the great mullein. 23rd. Toadflax, ragweed, and tansy in bloom. 31st. Close and sultry. This month bears the highest record for heat of any this summer. Of course, there's lots of pretty floral pictures in July. And we'll leave it there until next month. Thanks for joining me. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Most of all, have a great day. Happy crafting.